I am in my pajamas today. Hi there, welcome back. Today we're going to do a Christmas New Year book haul thing. So I got quite a lot of books over the Christmas period, both kind of that I bought and that were given as gifts, and I also got a couple of vouchers which I then spent on Waterstones in there. They had a 75% off sale on Christmas Day, and then on Boxing Day they had a half price hardback sale. I think that's roughly when they were. And I went nuts and bought a lot of them, and I would have done this video sooner to go with the trend of everybody else doing them, except Royal Mail took 2 weeks to ship my books to me, even though I paid for first class delivery, which I'm still a bit pissed at, to be honest. I also have been buying a couple of books recently from Amazon, so I really wanted to get into kind of new adult romances. So I have a couple of those in here, kind of dark ones. Don't quite know what I'm getting into with those, but I digress. So yeah, I'm gonna kind of try and go in, I guess, order. Does that make sense? I'm gonna kind of go in, like order of when I got them. Hopefully, fingers crossed. So the first book that I bought just before Christmas was The Secret History by Donna Tartt. So I've actually read this before. I thought I had a copy of it, but I don't know where it is. So I bought myself another copy. I loved this book. I thought this book was brilliant. I also have a copy of The Little Friend, which I haven't read yet, but it's on my book cart over there. I loved this. I want another copy. I didn't think it was so dense. If you haven't read The Secret History, it's basically become really popular with dark academia, and with that sort of aesthetic jumping up, and it's about a bunch of friends in a college in America, and one of them mysteriously disappears. The second book I bought along with The Secret History was Ernest Hemingway's The Old Man and the Sea. I've never read any Hemingway before. This is more of a novella than a novel. I have no idea what it's about. A fish, I presume, an old man, the sea. It's supposed to be one of his best works, so I'm keen to read it and to kind of dive into Ernest Hemingway. Also at the same time as these two books, I bought myself a copy of Cain's Jawbone. So if you don't know what Cain's Jawbone is, I'm going to do a full kind of video vlog on this, probably over the course of the year. Maybe I'll do one a month, that depends. But this is basically a murder mystery in an actual puzzle form, I guess, if that makes sense. It was first published in 1934. It's exactly 100 pages long, and if you look, the pages, you can see they're only kind of one-sided, and they only take up part of the page, because they're out of order. There are 6 murders, and you need to figure out exactly what order the pages go in. There's only one right answer, and it's supposed to be incredibly difficult. So it was done by the guy who did the crosswords for The Observer in 1934, and I think since then only 4 people have ever solved it. So yeah, I think someone on TikTok found a copy of it, and it got quite popular on TikTok last year. I don't know if she managed to solve it, but as a result, Unbound, the website Unbound, have when it originally came out, there was a big competition, and I think you could win the equivalent of about £1,000, $1,000, not entirely sure. But this is a reprint of the book by Unbound, and basically you have until the 31st of December 2022 to it was a prize of £15 originally, and now the prize is £250 worth of Unbound vouchers. Unbound's kind of like Kickstarter, I guess, but for books. So yeah, I was going to try and solve this over the course of the year, so stick with me on that one, I guess. At the same time as these, so before Christmas, I bought The Woods Are Always Watching by Stephanie Perkins. So this is about 2 friends who split up for university and then sort of meet up again, and they go for a big long hike in the woods, and they go off the trail, and terrible things happening. Terrible things happen. I never read, Stephanie Perkins also wrote Someone Inside Your House. I never read it, but I did see it had quite good reviews on Instagram, so I'm keen to read this and to see if it's as mysterious as it scissors. It's a YA novel. I also have The Library of the Unwritten by A.G. Hackworth even. And this book, I saw this online and I was absolutely smitten with this book. I think it's so interesting. Like the entire concept of it. It's basically about every single book that's never finished goes into a library of the Unwritten, I think it is. Oh, the Unwritten wing, which is a space in hell. And there's a librarian who looks over all of these books, and I think her name is Claire. And basically, her job is to keep an eye on things and to make sure things don't escape. And one of the books, the hero emerges from it and goes off on a quest to try and find his author. And so then Claire is tasked with tracking him down and bringing him back to the Unwritten wing. And it looks so amazing. I think it's the first of a series. At least that's what Christina Henry says on the front. But I'm very keen to get into that. I think I'll be reading that possibly first out of this entire list of books. And then we have a tradition on Christmas Eve that we go shopping with my grandparents, and my granddad always buys us like an extra present on Christmas Eve. And this year, it's normally jewellery or something, but all the jewellery shops are rubbish, and half of them are shut down now because this town is a ghost town. But so we went to Waterstones, and I got this beautiful copy of Playing with Fire. So these are Arthur Conan Doyle's short stories. It's a collection put together by the British Library. Absolutely none of them are about Sherlock Holmes. These are all the sort of weird supernatural tales that he wrote outside of the Sherlock Holmes story. And I wanted to read more Scottish authors this year, and I'm pretty sure Arthur Conan Doyle is Scottish. At least I'm claiming him as Scottish. I'm pretty sure he is, but I'm claiming him anyway. And it's just so beautiful. Look at it in all its glory. It's purple. It's a very beautiful purple. But this Arthur Conan Doyle played a lot with the uncanny, which is a kind of, it's not really a trope, it's like a technique area to be explored. I don't know, I guess. Yeah, one of those things. But it's one of my favourite things to read about, and something that I kind of want to replicate in my own writing. And so I'm very keen to read that and to see what I can learn from the master. For Christmas, I only got 2 books. I got An Island by Karen Jenkins, which is about a man who maintains the lighthouse on an island, all by himself. And one morning he wakes up after a storm and there's someone else on the island with him. That's all I know about it. It was on the Booker Prize long list for last year, so a lot of these books were on the long list. I bought the shortlist, I read the shortlist, and then I wanted to kind of expand my reading and read more sort of literary books, so that's why a lot of these are from the long list. But I asked for some of them, and I also asked for poetry books, which is how I ended up with Simon Armitage's translation of The Owl and the Nightingale, which is one very long narrative poem. It's beautiful. Look at that. Oh my god. Gorgeous. Do you see? Gorgeous. It's so pretty. It's illustrated inside. That's what it looks. That's the opening pages. It looks beautiful. I don't want to break the spine too much, but he also translated Sir Gawain and the Green Knight, which I have to read for uni in a couple of months' time. He is currently the poet laureate, so I mean, I'm assuming it's good because he's a poet laureate. Why wouldn't it be good? I then got a bunch of vouchers for Waterstones. I didn't get to use all of them because some of them were national book tokens and you can only use them in the shop, and I ordered these online. They finally arrived last week. After 2 weeks on order, even though I paid for first class shipping, which I'm still pissed about, which I've already said, that's how pissed I am about it. But these are the books I bought from there. So the first one is Under the Rainbow by Celia Lasky. So this is about a town in Kansas in America, which is voted the most homophobic town in America or the world. Yeah, America. The most homophobic town in America, and as a result, a bunch of queer activists decide to move there. And it's kind of about how the individual people of the town react to that and how it makes them question things about themselves. And also it has a rainbow in the front, so I wanted to buy it because it has a rainbow in the front. Speaking of ghost towns, as I did earlier, I also have Calflin's Islands of Abandonment. So I love abandoned places. I am right in there. They have pictures. Oh, they got all these creepy places. I love them. But yeah, this is basically an exploration of places that have been abandoned. Places like Chernobyl, mountains, volcanic regions of the Caribbean, I'm just reading this off the back, uninhabited Scottish islands, exclusion zones, fortress islands. Basically it's looking at what happens when people leave and things become overgrown and nature reclaims back the structures and the land. And I am absolutely fascinated by this. I am so keen. It's been shortlisted for like 3 different awards. It won. So it was shortlisted for the Wainwright Prize, the Baillie Gifford Prize for Non-Fiction, the British Academy Book Prize, and Scotland's National Book Awards. So it's been shortlisted for 4 different awards, so it's going to be pretty good. I also bought Gilded by Marissa Mayer. So I love the Lunar Chronicles. I read Heartless. I loved Heartless. What else did I read by her? I think that's it. That's all she's published, isn't it? Yeah. But I really like retellings of fairy tales, and I'm especially, I wrote a retelling of the Tale of Rumpelstiltskin. It was a bit different, but this is a retelling of Rumpelstiltskin. It sticks a lot closer to the main story than mine does, so I'm interested to see how it's going to play out. Second Place by Rachel Kusk. I can't remember what this book's about. Oh, misogyny. It says it's a fable of female fate and male privilege, so this one was longlisted for the Booker Prize. I think, was it also longlisted for the Women's Prize for Fiction? Can't remember what it's called. I'm fairly certain it was something to do with that as well. So it's about a woman who is obsessed with this artist, and she invites him over to her farm, to the not farm, I'm misreading things, to the coastal landscape where she lives, and he stays for a summer, and she thinks that he's going to paint something that answers sort of the hole in her soul, I guess, and he absolutely messes up her space, is what I'm getting from this. I like books like this. I'm not entirely sure what to think about this. I read the reviews of the long list before they announced the shortlist, and I'm pretty sure one of these got slammed. I don't know if it was this one or if it was Clara and the Sun. Might have been Clara and the Sun. A lot of these long list ones were not regarded very highly, but I'm still keen to read them anyway, because every book you read is an experience, I guess. This one is Sanjeev Sahotras, please tell me I'm pronouncing that right, China Room. So this one is about something. Yes, 2 stories that are kind of intertwined, and I like stories like that. It's about a woman who, her and her sisters are married, sisters-in-law, sorry, are married to 3 brothers, in sort of the 1920s, the 1930s, and they were all married in one ceremony, so they don't know whose husband is whose, so she has to, when she figures it out, or when she tries to figure it out, people's lives get put in danger. And then at the same time you have a young man travelling to England in 1999, travelling from England even to the same farm later on, and I guess he kind of figures out the story, I hope that's what it is. It is partially inspired by the author's family history, so I'm very intrigued. And then I have Mary Lawson's A Town Called Solace. I like this cover. It's very simple. I love it. It's about 3 people who all live in the same town and how they're brought together by fate. I'm pretty sure the town is called Solace. Please tell me it is. I believe it is. It's set in Canada in the 70s. That's all I know about it. I think there's a missing child, a missing teenager, a guy who's suspected of kidnapping her, and a lady who wants to make amends before she dies. That's what I got from that synopsis. I'm really good at describing books. So we'll get to Clara and the Sun, which is about, I didn't realise what this was about. This was one that got absolutely slated on the article that I read, and I had no idea what this is about, and it turns out it's about a robot a robot called Clara who watches people as they come in to browse in the shop that she's in, and she really wants someone to pick her up and take her home, which sounds incredibly sad. Incredibly sad. And apparently I asked, what does it mean to love? So I can imagine, it doesn't matter the quality of it. I think I'm probably going to cry when I read it anyway, but still, sad. I also got Nathan Harris's The Sweetness of Water. These were all, there's still all the long list. Yeah, it's set during the American Civil War, and it's about two black brothers who were slaves but are now freed, and about how they end up being, they go to hide in the woods to escape persecution, and they're found by this guy who owns his farm, and he takes them in. He's just lost his son, so he takes them in and he lets them work and live on his farm. And it's about how they interact with and form relationships with the people in the town nearby. I didn't know exactly what this next book was about. I just saw it on the list. It's Light Perpetual by Frances Spufford, I think her name is. And I didn't know what it was about, and then I read the synopsis and I was like, well, haven't I read this already? But basically it's about during World War II, 5 people are killed when a German bomb hits London. That's it. That's the entire story. Except it's not, because it's actually an alternate history in which the bomb never lands, and these 5 people live. They survive, obviously, and it's about what happens in the 20th century after they survive, and the sort of changes in it. And I quite like alternative history. I think it's very incredibly interesting. That's all the books I got from Waterstones in the first lot, and then I went back on and I bought more books. Unsurprisingly. So the first one, actually, I meant to mention this earlier and I forgot. I got Young Renegades by All Time Low. Well, All Time Low presents. It's a graphic novel comic book thing. And I pre-ordered it absolutely ages ago. I think I went to go and see All Time Low in September, and I pre-ordered it after coming out of that when I realised they had this coming out, and I completely forgot about it. And then I got a notification saying my parcel was going to be delivered, and I didn't know what it was, and it turns out it was this. So hopefully I'll be able to read this year. It looks the artwork is pretty cool. So then I went on a little bit of a tangent because I wanted to read some new adult romance, dark romances. Over on Instagram I host a book club called the Femme Fatale book club, and each month we pick a kind of dark fiction novel written by a woman, and we read that for the month. We previously read The Ghost Tree by Christina Henry, Pine by what's her name, Francine Toon, and we read Angela Carter's short story collection, The Bloody Chamber. So we kind of had like a dark fantasy there, we had a horror, and we had a thriller, arguably. So this month we took a break for December, and this month we decided we were going to read dark romance. I've never read any dark romance. I have a couple that I bought because of Instagram. Like, I have the Bargainer series, and I have Den of Vipers because I read the blurb and I thought it was hilarious and I had to buy it. And I also have A Touch of Darkness. I have, is it Guild, I think? But they're kind of dark fantasy romances, and I kind of wanted just dark romance. So I saw what was trending on Instagram, and I went out and bought a couple. We're only reading one for book club this month, but I got Hooked by Emily McIntyre. It's kind of based on Peter Pan. It's not a retelling, and it's not fantasy according to the beginning. I was really interested because it has a playlist at the beginning of it, and I think a lot of them have playlists at the beginning of them. I haven't checked the ones that came today, but yeah, it says it's not fantasy or a literal retelling. It also has content warnings. It's an adult fractured fairy tale, apparently, which is interesting, but I like Peter Pan. And if this freaks me out too much, or if I feel like it's too heavy, then I also have a copy of Wendy Darling, and I'll just read that. So it'll work. I also at the same time bought Promises and Pomegranates by Savar Miller. So I love Greek mythology. 2 of my favourite stories are Hades and Persephone and Orpheus and Eurydice, which, as you will see in a moment, I also have. So this is part of a series. Again, it's not a retelling or a fantasy. It is just based off this relationship. I think they're mafia? And then, yeah, it says at the beginning that If you don't read this genre, I don't suggest reading further. However, I shall. I bought a couple of these, so I'm hoping that they're pretty decent. But yeah, this is book 1 of the Monsters and Muses series. So I bought this one, which is Promises and Pomegranates, and then I also bought book 2, which is Vipers and Virtuosos. Because this one's based off of Orpheus and Eurydice, and I really like that story, and I thought, yeah, why not? But I think it's a bit stalker, actually, now that I've read it. These ones have playlists in them too, which is pretty cool. I also bought, we were talking about dark romance for the book club, and someone suggested Captive in the Dark by C.J. Roberts, and I could have got the Kindle version for free, but I wanted a physical copy so I could put notes in it. So, and I know you can do that on a Kindle, but it's not the same. So I bought it. There we go, end of story. This one is about a guy who's looking for revenge after he was sold to a mob, or sold into slavery by a mobster. He managed to get free, and then he has to, if he wants to get close to the guy, he needs to do the same thing that happened to him and kidnap a girl. She's 18, and I don't know how I feel about that because I don't know how old he is yet, but anyway. I'm pretty sure it's very sadistic. Does it have a playlist in it? Let me have a look. No. While I was looking for Captive in the Dark, there were other books that came up on the kind of recommended purchases along the bottom. So I have some mafia ones, I think, some stalkery ones. I have a kidnapping one. So I thought the only way to go would be to get a serial killer one as well. So this is There Are No Saints by Sophie Lark, which is about 2 serial killers who go against each other, and then one of them falls in love with someone, with a woman, and the other serial killer that he's against wants to just use her, but this guy falls in love with her, so he kidnaps her, I guess. So there's that one, and then there's also There Is No Devil, which is a sequel. So I know how this one ends because I read the blurb of this one, but I won't spoil it for anyone else. And then I went back onto Waterstones because why not? And I bought myself 4 more books. One of them hasn't arrived yet because it's a pre-order and it comes out at the end of the month. And that is, I think it's And Then There Were Wolves. I think that's what it's called. But it's basically a novel set in the Scottish Highlands about this woman who reintroduces wolves into the Highlands, and then she faces a lot of pushback against this because everybody thinks it's dangerous, and then somebody ends up dead, and everybody thinks it's her wolves, but she knows it wasn't her wolves, so she has to go and try and solve the mystery herself and figure out who killed this guy. So that doesn't come out to the end of the month, but I bought a copy of it. I also bought Kingdom of the Cursed, so this was still in the sale for Waterstones. Kingdom of the Cursed by Kerry Maniscalco. I haven't yet read Kingdom of the Wicked. It is over there somewhere. I also bought Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber. I'm pretty sure that's how you say her name. I haven't read Caraval, but I have the entire series. I just haven't read it yet. I'm quite bad for doing that. But it's supposed to be good, and everybody was talking about this afterwards, after it came out. And you know what? It looks pretty cool. I like it. I thought, yeah, let's buy it. And then I bought another Ishiguro novel. This is Never Let Me Go. I've never read this before. Supposedly it's amazing. It's about this woman sort of reminiscing about her time in high school, I guess, or young person school, primary school. I don't know. Boarding school. I don't know. English people are weird. But yeah, I've never seen the film either, but supposedly it's really good, and I figured, why not? Hello, welcome to this brief interlude, in which I haven't washed my hair. I filmed the rest of this book haul video yesterday, and then today I went to the supermarket and bought another 3 books. So I'm just going to throw them into this video because I haven't started editing it yet. So, 3 books I bought are all books that I was absolutely fascinated with on Instagram. I see them coming up every single time. The first is Jennifer Saint's Ariadne, I think I'm saying that right, which is a sort of a retelling of the story of Theseus and the Minotaur from the perspective of one of Minos' daughters. it's along the same veins as sort of the Song of Achilles and is it Circe? I can't say Greek names. For ages, I went around, I read Antigone for uni, and until somebody told me otherwise, I went around pronouncing it Antigone, because that's how I read it. So apologies for bad pronunciations, but yeah, that was the first one I had. And then I got Colleen Hoover's It Ends With Us, which is about a woman who starts her own business. She meets this guy and she's really kind of interested in him and attracted to him, and he's like a neuroscientist, so he's pretty, you know, cool. That's a nice level to be at. And as she kind of considers the implications of joining a new of entering a new relationship, she starts thinking about this guy that she had a previous relationship with, and then he reappears. That's what I'm getting from the back anyway. But again, saw this in Tesco. It looks nice. I see it all over Instagram. I thought I'd give it a go. Try romance in general, so that's why I got that one. And then I have Maggie O'Farrell's Hamnet, which was the winner of the Women's Prize for Fiction 2020. Somebody on Instagram recommended this to me, and I didn't know what it was about, and it turns out it's about, I think it's Shakespeare's son. I think that's what it's about. And about how he's left alone with his sister who falls ill, and I mean, the back literally says neither parent knows that Hamnet will not survive the week, which is intriguing already. So I'm going to give that one a go. So yeah, I think that puts me up to a solid 31 books to read this year. But yeah, no more books. That's it. No more books. Enjoy the rest of the video. So that's all the books I bought recently. I think, yeah, everything else is a bit far away. This is, I guess, also doubles as my books I want to read in 2022, because I'm going to read all these this year if it kills me. 27 books that I want to read this year. That's half the year. If I can read 2 a week, no, 1 every fortnight, then that'll be fine. Of course, on top of this, I have other books to read, books for review, and also books for uni that I need to read. My Goodreads challenge for the year is, or my reading goal for the year is to read 50 books. So, you know, I'm getting there. We're gonna get close if I manage to get through all of these. And of course, I'm gonna have to read Kingdom of the Wicked as well. So I guess that's 28. But yeah, have you read any of these books? Do you have any recommendations based on any of these books? And I will try and squeeze them in this year. How many books are you reading this year? Let me know down in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please leave me a little thumbs up, and if you really enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing. I buy books a lot, and most of what I do is book hauls, or at least that's what I wanted to do, and then I promised myself I wouldn't buy any books this year, and that ended in disaster. So, Jesus. Yeah, validate me, subscribe, please. I'll leave links down to my Twitter and my Instagram, where I post pictures of books all the time, and my Twitter where I just chat shit about books all the time, and my blog down in the description below if you'd like to go check that out. But in the meantime, thank you very much for watching, not listening. This is visible. And enjoy the rest of your day, folks. Bye.